everybody, New Year's resolution, yada yada, cringe, whatever. But it never hurts to try to improve things. And one of the things I've kind of found that I've struggled with, and I'd imagine a lot of kind of thinking people and tentative people could relate to, is I tend to overthink things before I do them. And I mean, it's not always bad, to think about things before you do them. But what ends up happening a lot of times is I have like analysis paralysis. So, I used to work at a software company back in Irvine, California. And it's not like he invented it, but one of the managers used to always mention the quote, "Perfect is the enemy of good." I tell my wife that all the time, like, perfect is the enemy of good. Like, we're just not going to do anything if we can't decide, like, let's say, for example, which hotel we're going to book. And then we're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out tomorrow. And then, boom, how many times has it happened where you don't end up booking that trip, and then you kind of, like, things fiddle apart. And, that's one of the downfalls of kind of overthinking things, is just sometimes you just do less in life. So, yeah, you might not make mistakes, but not moving is a mistake in itself 100%. And I mean, I'd imagine, I don't know, but I'd imagine that's one of the common regrets later in life for a lot of people. And that's definitely a drowning type of regret that I feel like old people have. And that sounds terrible. I think another example of this that could kind of describe it is they've done studies where there's companies that will, like, a marketing strategy is to not have too many products, because that tends to cause that exact thing of information overload. And that causes people to just eventually, like, I can't figure out which one I want to buy, let me just wait. And then they forget about it. Life gets busy. I took my son up here the other day. I got him one of those power wheel ride on dump truck things. Man, that thing is awesome. It's so cool. My son's almost 2 years old, so he kind of drives it. I could probably teach him how to drive it, but for now we're just using the remote control. And it was so cool coming up here. Sheep Canyon. So I'm riding the 2025 CRF 300L, which, I don't really want this channel to be about, like, the motorcycles directly, but I'm always interested when I watch moto vlogs. I'm always kind of interested in what they're riding, especially if it's something that I have myself. It makes it more interesting. But this is a 25 CRF 300L, and I guess supposedly the 2025 has stiffer suspension, but everybody still says it's trash. I'm no experience off-road hardly, so I don't really know what's good or bad. It definitely feels a little squishy. But I would be interested in running a 2024 and see how it is. This is that little half-pipe thing I was talking about. Not that cool, but whatever. Not really anywhere to go from here, but it's just kind of a cool little kicking spot. And that's actually the first time I've ever seen anybody up here. Normally it's empty. For being as close to the road as it is, it's kind of cool. But my son was just riding around the little dump truck. That thing was kind of off-roading pretty good. It was cool. Chill little spot. Fairly smooth for camping if you wanted to floor camp. I mean, when I say fairly smooth, not bad for this area. So many rocks over here. Man, the throttle on the 300L is so jerky. People would get what's called like the 550 performance ECU, but man, this throttle is so jerky. It's tough. I don't think there's anything over here. Throwing these things around off-road is not as easy as people make it look like. It's definitely a skill of like learning how to use your body appropriately for it, because I mean I'm 5'9", I'm not huge, but I'm fairly fit, and I'm decently strong. So, but some small people make it look easy. I see women loading their motorcycles up into the back of the beds of trucks. It's like, it reminds you like how much of it's technique. Just like anybody that's ever done jiu-jitsu, man. You roll with like a purple belt girl, especially if she's like a $130, $140, decent sized girl. You know, that kind of shows you how crazy technique is. That guy's kind of smashing. But I definitely want to get more fit this year. I've been doing more kettlebell, more like calisthenic type things. You know, not hardcore yet, but I'm kind of ramping it up. And that's something I kind of want to do more of. I just want to be, you know, as I get older, I just want to be more functional, more and more functional. I don't really care to be super jacked or anything like aesthetic necessarily. Just healthy, comfortable, and then be able to run for a while, you know? More like physical fitness than aesthetic fitness. Anyways, one thing, I watched this on a YouTube video. I can't remember what. I want to say it was like the 5 things that could change your life. And they weren't all in fitness. They were all in different things. I watched it, I want to say 2 years ago. And, you know, I've always had a little bit of trouble staying consistent with working out. Mostly just, not to have it as an excuse, but I've just been in a relationship for so long. You know, not being single will definitely, you know, dad bod definitely makes sense. You get comfortable, so I don't let myself go, but you know, you don't have that same level of motivation like when you're single and you're, you know, bachelor, constantly going and looking for, you know, women. So, anyways, one of the things that I found that's super helpful in that video was never let yourself skip more than one day. So, and this is different than saying every other day. It's that you could only skip one day, but if you ever do skip a day, which you try not to, then you definitely have to work out the next day. And like, it seems simple, but the psychology of it really makes you want to work out every single day, because life gets busy and you never know what, you know, tomorrow is going to entail necessarily. You might have a plumbing issue at home or something, and you know, these are the type of things where like, that's a valid excuse, I guess I won't work out today, you know. And then, so to avoid that, you kind of just work out even if you worked out the day before, just in case something happens the next day. At least that's how it is for me, and I found this to be by far the best tip for kind of being consistent with working out. It a lot of times makes you want to work out every single day almost, just in case if you need to skip a day. I don't know if that makes sense. And actually, it feels amazing out here. Kind of related to my last video, but I just love snagging used things. And I got this like for, I don't know exactly how much it is. I want to say like somewhere between $350 to $500 Alpine Star jacket. It's a dual sport style one, and it has a weather layer and it has a waterproof layer, and they all attach to each other and they come apart like really clean and easy. Looks nice. It's got vents all over, and I swooped it up for, I had it for about a month and a half. I want to say $75, and it's like brand new. And the guy didn't ride off-road in it. He only sold it because he lost a bunch of weight. But he just rode a street bike. He had like a little Harley, so it's like super clean. So obviously no laydowns and no freaking dirt on it. But $75, and you know, I don't feel so bad buying used armor so much, or used jackets. Obviously, never get a used helmet. And everything in life is so coincidental, luck-based, inconsistent, immeasurable, that, you know, simulation theory type stuff sounds so real sometimes, because some things don't make sense, you know. So if you try to overthink everything, you end up not moving. And, you know, not to go all woo-woo manifest secret type stuff, but man, it is a trip how sometimes it seems like action not necessarily directed movement, but just movement in general opens up so much doors. And you know, I think that's going to be my goal this year. And I've been rocking the glizzy with the fanny pack lately, just because I like to wear joggers and be a little lazy. But it's uncomfortable putting it under the bottom of the jacket because the motorcycle jacket's running a little bit large or a little bit longer, just so you're bending over, it doesn't, you know, pull up so much. And having the fanny pack on my waist is kind of annoying, but having it over the shoulders is pretty nice actually. It's the first time riding like that. But yeah, guys, please in the comments, I want to hear your simple recommendations, your heuristics for, you know, doing things efficiently. Something like that don't skip more than one day rule, that just make things easy, not overly planned out. They're adaptable, they're versatile, and they're simple to follow. You know, I'd be curious in more things like that. I need to get exhaust. One thing I've noticed when I was editing the first video is that all you could hear is the wind. And you know, I changed the rocker between my voice and the motorcycle, but the motorcycle is too damn quiet where you just can't even hear it. Yeah, once again, I appreciate you guys sticking around. I'm gonna go ahead and head in for the night, so y'all stay cool, alright? Take care.